friends, I am on my lunch break from jury duty and I wanted to start a reading vlog. I'm currently standing in my kitchen / laundry room. Mine is the same. And I wanted to do a reading vlog, reading books that one of my favorite booktubers loves. And this booktuber is probably the one who encouraged me the most and inspired me the most to start my own channel. I have followed her for about 4 years, probably one of the first booktubers I followed, and that is Krista at Books and Jams. We all love Krista. She is a joy to watch and to talk to, and she has created such an amazing community on Booktube. So I want to do just kind of read some of the books that she inspired me to get, or she gifted me, or I won a giveaway, because Krista is also very generous and runs contests for her Patreon, but she also does it for just anyone, really. And I have let Krista know that I am doing this vlog, but I have not let her know the books. I gave her a little bit of choice, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But Krista and I have some crossover, not a whole lot. Krista reads a lot more historical fiction and kind of general fiction. I read a lot more literary fiction, thriller, horror-ish. Yeah, so I decided for this vlog, I'm going to start with a historical fiction book that I know Krista gave 5 stars to, and I'm pretty sure I bought it based on her review. So the first book we're going to do is Secrets of a Charmed Life by Susan Meisner. This is dual timeline, which Krista really loves. It is World War II, which also Krista really loves. So present day is Oxford, England. There's a young American scholar, Kendra Van Zant, eager to pursue her vision of a perfect life, interviews Isabel McFarlane just when the elderly woman is ready to give up secrets about the war she has kept for decades, beginning with who she really is. Don't want to read any more than that. I was able to get this on audio. We'll see if I actually read or listen to any of this. It's kind of hard to focus. So I'm listening to an audiobook that I can focus on, but when I start a novel, I really need to be completely focused. Yeah, so we're going to start with this one. I'm going to reveal the books as I read them, just as a little surprise for Krista. Hi, I thought I would update you. I had jury duty yesterday, and I did not end up listening to or physically reading Secrets of a Charmed Life, even though I took this with me. I ended up listening to one of my nonfiction books because they kept interrupting us, and fiction is hard when you keep, for me anyway, it's hard when you keep getting interrupted to get kind of in the groove and in the story. So, I was there for I was at the courthouse a lot for a long time yesterday. Went through the whole jury process, like jury selection process, and did not get selected. So I didn't have to go back today, which was good so I could catch up on work. But I have not read much. So I started yesterday. When was this? Yesterday. I started Secrets of a Charmed Life. And I've only read like 50 pages. So we are starting off with Kendra, who is an American who's in Oxford, England. doing kind of a semester abroad or a year abroad. And she has a project she needs to finish, and the person she was supposed to interview backed out for whatever reason, and now she's going to interview Isabel, who is a artist, and I think she's in her 80s or 90s, and then we also have in the 40s, we're getting to know Emmy, who is 15, and her younger sister, Julia. They live in London, and their mom is a single mom in a time when being a single mom wasn't supported by society. And I don't think they really know who Emmy's father is. There is some mention of Julia's father. Emmy is trying to get a job at a dress shop in town, and her grandmother taught her to sew, and she draws dresses. That's kind of as far as I've gotten so far. I like it fine. Haven't really gotten too much into it. What we're gonna do, I've got a cat on my lap and a dog next to me. So we'll settle on in for the night and see how far we get. Okay, so I wanted to give a quick update. I am about 10 chapters into Secrets of a Charmed Life by Susan Meisner. We are following two sisters who are in the 1940s in England, in London. One is 15 and one is much younger. That's all they've said. They live with their single mom, and the 15-year-old got a job at a bridal dress shop. But they're having to be sent out to the countryside because of the war. And in the present day, we've only had like a chapter or two of the present day is Kendra, who is an American in England for like a year or something for schooling, and she has to finish a project, and she's interviewing Isabel. So there's that. It's okay so far. I feel like the writing style is good. I still feel like I haven't really gotten into it, and it doesn't feel like it's any different from any other World War II novel that I've read, because I've read a few with children being sent off to the countryside, and I'm sure it will become its own unique story as the story goes on. So it's 10 chapters, but it's 10 chapters is like 90 pages in, a little bit less than 90 pages in. So the chapters are short. So we haven't really gotten much into making a connection with the characters or too far into that plot. I did finish my non-related to this vlog nonfiction audiobook. I want to start on nonfiction that I bought because of Krista and I know Krista loved. And that is The Sun Does Shine, How I Found Life, Freedom, and Justice by Anthony Ray Hinton with Lara Love Hardin. This is about Anthony Ray Hinton, who was arrested and charged with capital murder in Alabama. And he was innocent. So I know Krista has spoken highly of this book. And since it's Nonfiction November, I felt like having a nonfiction that I know she gave 5 stars to would be pretty appropriate in this vlog. Today is Thursday, November 7th. And it's been a really strange week, having jury duty on Monday, the election on Tuesday. Wednesday, I had all-day meetings for work. I had to teach a class in the morning and then had meetings in the afternoon. So I feel like I'm just now getting to catch up on my typical work that I like paperwork I have to get done. That is what I'm focused on today and tomorrow. Unfortunately, the paperwork I do, I can't listen to audiobooks at the same time. So I'm gonna read a little on breaks and do more of the reading in the evening time. If you don't want to hear anything about the election, skip forward a couple minutes. I'm not a real, how do I say this? I'm not a political person in the sense that I'm not going to get political here. I just have really strong feelings about the election, and I'm very disappointed in how it turned out. And it does make me fearful for the future for myself, for those I love, and in extension, you know, the communities and the country that I love. So like I said, I'm not going to get political on here. You know, I want this to be a safe space where people feel comfortable sharing in the comments. The only thing that I won't stand for is any attacks on each other or any hatred, any attacks on others. You may not agree, and I don't agree with everyone's life choices, but it's an individual thing. And as a person with a disability, I'm a bit concerned about access to medical care, how that's gonna be next year, and over the course of the next 4 years. We'll see. And yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna get into it a lot on here, but it felt weird not acknowledging that we had a pretty pivotal election with an outcome that not a lot of people expected. And yeah, so we'll just leave it at that. And like I said, feel free to share in the comments. Just be kind to each other. And if I see anything that's not being kind to each other, I will delete it. It's very perfect timing in that this weekend, Krista, who I'm doing this vlog all about, she is having some sort of like a Patreon reading retreat this weekend for her Patreon group. We're gonna have reading sprints on Friday night, Saturday I think like lunchtime, and then Sunday night. So I'm looking forward to that. I also am gonna try and catch up with a friend of mine who I haven't seen in a while. Also, a health update. I plan to do a more in-depth chronic illness update on the channel in the next couple of weeks. I had to stop my bi-weekly infusions that I was doing because they were not, it was kind of like a alternative care. There's science that supports getting supplements and IV fluids to support your body, but also bodies with chronic illness. And I found it helpful, but I had to stop doing it for the medical procedure that I had back in August. My doctor wanted me to stop the IVs just while I was getting this procedure since I went under anesthesia. All that said, then of course Remy got sick and died, and I didn't want anything distracting me from him, and so I was able to go this week to get an infusion. And I don't know if you notice, but I do have more energy. And which is interesting considering I have not been sleeping well because of the election. So I know there's just something about it that does help me. So I'm hoping to have a little bit more energy this weekend and get some stuff done in the house. I am working on decluttering, so when my lease comes up, if I have an option to move to a smaller house or a smaller like an apartment or something like that, I'm just not sure what I'm gonna do. Having a beagle was always the thing that kept me from having an apartment, because while Remy didn't bark a lot, when a beagle barks, it's a howl. They don't really have a typical bark. And Remy was really loud when he did bark. And he typically would do that. He had separation anxiety, so he would do that when I wasn't home. So I have not had shared walls since my first two beagles. The rental prices in Georgia have gone up since the pandemic, pretty much. And haven't really, I think they've kind of stabilized in the last year or so. Like, they're not going up as quickly as they were. But I definitely think they have the potential to go up again. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's kind of just an update on life and stuff. I'm washing dog beds right now because I may try and go camping. If I continue to feel well, I'm gonna go to South Georgia, middle Georgia, for Thanksgiving to see some family, and then I may take Mabel and just go camping, like car camping somewhere between here and there. here in my cousin's house. I've wanted to car camp for a long time, and you know, just having health issues makes it more difficult. But I've been thinking about it more. I think it'd be easier to manage with one dog. And Mabel's pretty good in the car. Remy was a little anxious in the car, so we'll see. We'll see. I've talked enough, so I'm gonna get back to work. I just finished The Secrets of a Charmed Life by Susan Meisner. This is a dual timeline of the present day is the story of Kendra, who's an American student in England for a year for some of her schooling, and she has to do she's doing a contest to see, like, I think it was some students were going to compete to get their article printed. And her interviewee backs out at the last minute. And so one of her professors arranges for her to interview this woman, Isabel. And then the story in the 1940s is about two sisters, Emmy, who's 15, and Julia, who's 7. They are the children of a single mom, and they're in London during the Blitz, and we just kind of hear the story of their encounter. I liked this. This is more the historical fiction that I like. There's definitely a mystery to it. And even though sort of, I would say halfway into it, we kind of figure out or find out what the 90-year-old Isabel's connection to it is. It's still really interesting, like, figuring out how all the storylines are going to come together. So I am giving this probably 4 stars. So pretty good for historical fiction for me. Hello. It's Sunday, November 10th, I think. As you can tell, I did my hair. Wanted to go a little bit of a shade darker and decided to do it myself. So anyway, my hair's all over the place. So I totally forgot to take a video yesterday. I got on sprints with Krista and forgot to take a video of it. So you'll just have to take my word for it. I've been sprinting with Krista and our Patreon group, book club folks, all weekend, which has been really fun. It's like a little reading retreat. We had some sprints Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and we're going to have some tonight, which I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do, but I wanted to update you. I'm a couple chapters into the audiobook of The Sun Does Shine by Anthony Ray Hinton. This is very perfect timing for just having done jury duty, because we're in the first chapter is talking about the actual time in court, and it focuses on his sentencing and his statement he made to the court as an innocent man being sentenced to execution, the death penalty. And it just makes me so mad. Makes me so mad that so much stuff happened where there was so much evidence that he was not guilty, but he had ineffective defense, and I'm sure we'll get into the reasons why, but why it took as many years as it did really frustrates and saddens me. I'm listening to the audiobook and it's really good. I also wanted to tell you what the third and final book is in my Ode to Krista vlog. Is a book that she actually gifted me just a couple of months ago. She ran a book challenge. It's basically a bingo board that you want to black out of prompts for summer reading. Things like read outside or read a book set at the beach and stuff like that. At the end of the challenge, she does like a spinner wheel, and whoever kind of wins the giveaway, she picks something off their wish list and sends it to them. And this summer I won, and I was so excited because I got a book. So she sent me one of her favorite books, which was on my wish list probably because of her review of it. Although I've seen many people, I haven't seen a bad review or like a review of someone who didn't like this book. And that is The Frozen River by Aria Lahan. And I've read 2 chapters of this and I'm hooked. I am hooked. Can't get the audiobook. There's still, I think I'm like 106 in line for the audiobook for my library. So I should say, in case you haven't heard about this book, it is about a midwife who is called in to look at a body that was found frozen in the river. But there's some history to the person that's in the river. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, is kind of who the person in the river was and how they might have died, what they might have done when they were alive, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's next read for this vlog, and we'll probably finish up in the next few days. I think I'll probably read both of these very quickly. Today, it's already lunchtime. I have definitely had a chill morning. I left my coffee in the microwave because I've had to heat it back up. But I plan to do some vacuuming. I plan to do some more boxing up some stuff for donations, and I may go, there's a silent reading group that's meeting at one of my local coffee shops. I may go do that for a little while. I'm not sure if I will, or I'll do sprints with Krista's group tonight, or I'll do both and take you along with me. He wants me to get the book off my lap so he can climb in my lap. Is that what you wanted? What are you doing? Oh, yeah. And then he'll say, put the phone down, Mom, because I need you to snuggle me. I finished The Sun Does Shine by Anthony Ray Hinton. This is about Ray Hinton, who is charged, convicted, sentenced to death for a crime there's no way he could have committed because he was at work, witnessed at work by multiple people, including the guard that had to sign him in and out of a lockdown building. Like, there's no way he committed this crime. However, the prosecutor had it out for him for some reason. But it's really boils down to being Black in the South. And the extent that hatred and prejudice can have on someone's life. And we almost didn't get to hear this story because of the way that the legal system had basically its claws into Ray Hinton, an innocent man who just wanted to take care of his mom and just go to work and be left alone, right? It's a frustrating read. It's also very beautiful, the relationship between Ray and his friend Lester, Ray and his mom, and the relationship that develops between Ray and his lawyer, Brian Stevenson, who I now must go read his book, which is Just Mercy, and Brian Stevenson's his work to get Ray off of death row and other innocent people who are on death row. It was staggering to hear the statistic that 1 out of 5 people on death row is innocent. 1 out of 5? If I'm remembering that correctly, which you never know. My memory's bad, but I'm pretty sure that was the statistic. So yeah, 5 stars. Krista, I get why you love this book. And yeah, I will be picking up Just Mercy soon. Hair is all over the place. We're having like a misty rain kind of a day, which, I mean, we need some rain. We need, substantial rain. But the misty rain, no matter what, just hair, frizz, all the things. You'll see from the previous clips that I went to the library. I'm not a seasonal reader. I'm not. I read spooky books all year round. I don't really read Christmas books. It's just never been something I do last Christmas, I did read a couple. I read The Christmas Appeal by Janice Hallett, and I read Peter Swanson's Christmas book that came out last year, which was really good. The Christmas Appeal was just, it was goofy and humorous and hit the spot in some ways. But anyway, I was on the way to the post office, and it's right next to the library. And so I went in just to see what they had. Christmas is kind of a smaller branch, so they don't usually have a ton of stuff. But they had a couple Christmas things. So the first one I got out was The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. I saw this make the rounds when it came out on Booktube. And I've never read Maggie Knox before. It's, from what I understand, it's basically identical twins, and one of them is supposed to do like a reality baking show but gets hurt, and the other one, the identical twin, has to take her place, but she doesn't know how to bake or something like that. So and of course there's two guys on the cover, so it's gonna be a holiday romance. Then this one just had a dog on the cover, so of course I had to look at this. And it's A Merry Little Murder Plot by Jen McKinley. All the stickers are covering everything up. Oh, I remember, I read this. So, during the most wonderful time of the year, famous author Helen Monroe arrives in Briar Creek to be the writer in residence. During the most wonderful time of the year, famous author Helen Monroe arrives in Briar Creek to be the writer in residence. But her bah humbug attitude excludes her from many holiday celebrations the town residents enjoy. To try to spread some Christmas cheer, library director Lindsay Norris invites the new writer in town to join her Crafternoon Club. Helen politely refuses, and when an altercation happens between Helen and another patron, Lindsay begins to suspect the author has been keeping to herself for a reason. So, a Scrooge character, a library, and there's a dog on a cover, which probably means there's a dog in the book, so that might hit the spot too. I also got The Joyride by Melanie Carlson. So I read last year, 2 years ago, I read, I think it was called Christmas in the Alps, which must be a newer of Melody Carlson's books because it's not listed back here in her. This was from 2015. And I know I read Christmas in the Alps 2 years ago, I want to say. And I really liked it. It was cute. It had like a mansion that had a story behind it kind of thing, which, you know, I love. For this, so this had an RV on the cover, which I always take a road trip around Christmas time, so Miranda did not put adventure on her Christmas list, but thanks to her 85-year-old neighbor Joy, that's exactly what she's getting this year. When Joy tells Miranda that she plans to drive an old RV decked out in Christmas decorations from their Chicago neighborhood to her new retirement digs in Phoenix, in the dead of winter no less, the much younger Miranda insists that Joy cannot make such a trip by herself. Unemployed and facing foreclosure, Miranda feels she has nothing to lose by packing a bag and heading off with Joy toward Route 66. But Joy has a hidden agenda for their Christmas joyride, one that could derail the whole venture. So I've enjoyed Melanie Carlson's writing. And we'll just try this and see what happened. She also has a book called The Christmas Dog and The Christmas Cat. So I'll also put the cover of the Christmas, I think it's A Christmas in the Alps or something like that. I'll put a cover here. It's cute, so I definitely recommend that. And then I also just happened to see When We Were Orphans by Kazu Ishiguro. No, this is not a Christmas book. This is the last book club. I think it's called the Backlist Book Club. Caitlin at Bandy's Books. My memory is suffering today. Caitlin at Bandy's Books, and I'll put her other co-host below. This is their last book club book for this year. I've tried to read the book club books along with them, and just for one reason or another haven't gotten to it yet. I have never read Kazu Ishiguro, but I do have Never Let Me Go on my TBR. So this says, Christopher Banks was born in Shanghai at the beginning of the 20th century and lived there relatively happily until the disappearances of his father and mother. Now, more than 20 years after leaving Shanghai, Banks is a renowned detective and a celebrated figure in London society. Yet the expertise that has garnered him fame has done little to illuminate the circumstances of his parents' alleged kidnappings. So I'm curious to try this author and discuss it with a group. So yeah, I'm excited for my little library haul. It's probably little because, like I said, the library I go to in that county is really small. It's a small branch. I am about to have an afternoon of meetings, and then I plan to hopefully make some more headway in The Frozen River. I'm at page 166, and again, so we've gotten to like some court cases, because there's a number of different crimes that are happening and people are being charged with. But the biggest one is this sexual assault of the pastor's wife, and she confided in Martha Ballard, the midwife that we're looking at. So, and there's also this new doctor that's come in that is trying to kind of push Martha Ballard out of midwifery. He's trying to do all the births. So I'm liking the story. I'm not loving the writing style. I think that's the main thing for me. But I'm interested enough to keep going, and hopefully I'll get a good bit done today. I have to give a quick update before I finish this, because I'm about to finish The Frozen River by Ariel Lahan. There's a shocking scene at the end of this book that happens to what's his name? Colonel North. That nobody warned me about. And I was listening to it. Okay, so let me back up for a second. I have had some migraines lately, and which is also why it's so dark in here. But when I'm having migraines, audiobooks are easier for me. And I ended up renewing my subscription to Everand so I could listen to this, which Everand has apparently changed a little bit since I canceled my subscription like 2 months ago. But anyway, I had to get the audio for The Frozen River because my library, I'm like 100 and something on the list, on the holds list. But I knew I wouldn't finish this in time for this vlog to go on Sunday. And so I got the audiobook to finish this because I still had like 200 pages left. Now I have, I think, 45 minutes left of the audiobook, and the scene that I just listened to was gruesome. If you know, you know. Yeah. Okay, I finished The Frozen River by Aria Lahan, and I'm just not sure my feelings yet. I think I mentioned that the first several passages in the beginning, which literally are the pink tabs, and they are literally at the beginning. The writing frustrated me because I felt like it was overwritten. I got over my shock of the gruesome scene towards the end. And I'm not sure, like right now I'm thinking 4-ish. There are definitely some cringeworthy writing, especially like and maybe this is just me, but I feel like the love scenes between Martha Ballard and her husband, they seemed a little cringeworthy, and it could have just been so sweet, and I didn't really feel like they were. I'm gonna think about my feelings about it. So I'm somewhere between a 3 and a 4, which I'm surprised at because everybody that I've heard that's a review of this have rated it 5 stars. So again, it's just me. It probably is just me. I'm gonna sleep on it, and I'm gonna come back tomorrow and finish out the vlog. So to wrap up the vlog, I read 3 books that Krista from Books and Jams loves, and I feel like it was a pretty good vlog. The first book I read was Secrets of a Charmed Life by Susan Meisner. This is about dual timeline, World War II. Emmy and Julia are daughters of a single mother. They're sent off into the country to be safe during the war. And then there is Isabel, who is she's in her 90s, and she's telling her story to a reporter or a student who is writing a report or a project on Isabel's life and how they intertwine and what happened to Emmy and Julia. And I thought this was a great historical fiction. Historical fiction is usually not my go-to, but I really liked the writing style. I liked the bit of mystery surrounding it. And we didn't spend too much time in the present day, which is kind of what I like. I sometimes feel with the dual timelines that they spend too much in the time frame that there's not a lot happening. It's just where the secrets are revealed. So, yeah, I think I gave this 4 stars. For Nonfiction November, I knew I wanted to include a nonfiction that Krista loves. This is The Sun Does Shine by Anthony Ray Hinton. This is about Anthony Ray Hinton's 30 years, nearly 30 years, on death row for a crime he did not commit. And even when they had the evidence, the judicial system in Alabama was trying to save face and they weren't going to release him. So it's kind of his story and his experience on death row. It was very moving and it was very frustrating. It's timely as well, showing the racial injustice in the judicial system. I gave this 5 stars. And I listened to the audiobook. It was very good. And then the last book I read, I just finished last night. This is The Frozen River by Ariel Lahan. This follows Martha Ballard, who was a real person. She was in the 1700s, late 1700s in Maine. She was a midwife. And she was called to examine a dead body that was found in the river. And the story goes into kind of women's place in society in the 1700s. It talks about sexual assault. It talks about family relationships. It also talks about abuses of power. And again, it talks about the judicial system. I liked this. I didn't love it like everyone else that I've heard review it. Had few issues with, I felt like the author kind of was overwriting, just putting on a lot of detail about things that we didn't need a lot of detail. I feel like it was tightened up towards the, like, middle half to the end, and I didn't see as many instances of that. And then everything was very neatly wrapped up in a bow at the end, which is good. I don't always need that, but I know some people do. So the cover is awesome. And yeah, it was a good read. I think I'm landing at like a 3.5 for this one. Yeah, because I thought about it last night, and this was more where I'm at with historical fiction. This was definitely a 4. This wasn't quite as good to me, so 3.5. So a 5-star, a 4-star, and a 3.5. I call that a win. Thank you, Krista, for inspiring me to read these books. And I thank you for being here. If you would like to support my channel, please click the like and subscribe button. And I'll be back probably in another month or 2 with another kind of edition of reading like my favorite booktubers. My first video was reading like Becca Books and Bujo, and I'll link that below so you can watch it. I hope you all are doing well, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.